Ladies and gentlemen, K Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is down quite a bit, about 2.5% on the S&P. Pretty much across the board, all the indices are down today. Looks like the best case scenario for the bears, it played out today. Last night on the video, talked about the best case scenario for the bears is to gapping it down because there are too many supports. Remember, there's a gap area here, right? And there was that my short-term moving average was hovering in that vicinity. Same with my mid-term moving average, also hovering around that vicinity. We also had that horizontal support. So there was too many support levels. And a lot of times when this happens, a lot of times when bears don't want to deal with these support, because these support levels been giving trouble for the bears. You can see that that support level was holding, my midterm support was holding, that horizontal support that was holding, this gap was filled, and that acted support. And so this is the reason why we're staying here for about a couple weeks before today. Today, bears brought it down, they gapped it down. And then I think that was very important. Gapping it down was the best case scenario for bears because then we can turn this into another island top. So now we have a 2 island top reversal gaps. This one not filled. This one not. We got now total 3 gaps, down gaps that were not filled. And we still have this downtrend resistance, right? I've been adjusting them, right? This is why you don't want to do these things way too tightly, because you thought that this was a breakout right here, that was a trap. You thought this was a breakout right here, that was a trap. That's why you never want to be so precise with these falling resistance levels. The reason why you draw this way, so you know that where the trend is coming from. So we still have got these lower highs here, and now we did cultivate in the short-term lower low, right? So we do have a short-term lower low, but we are just slightly dangling around on my long-term moving average there. This move, and there is no accident. Didn't we talk about this yesterday, right? Every single day, market is gonna give you just little bit of information to make you guess, make you doubt. It is no accident. The market decided it was going to consolidate last 4 hours of trading, right? Right on, like why there? Think about it. We don't have any kind of known, price action support there. Not really. I mean, that's a support, 298. So it's interesting how these things happen every single day, because I mean, the reason why the price action like stop short right here, been consolidating here, just so that market can sweat the late coming bears, knowing that, okay, well, we found support here, but we got a little bit of different posture though, don't we? Like today we did see some confident bullish candles when we did hit that level right here. 3 white soldiers right there, 1, 2, 3, right? And then we saw a big gap up there. 3 white soldiers. We have that doji hammer-like candle right on that. We saw follow through, and then we saw gap up. 3 white soldiers, and then we saw gap up. But again, we talked about this is the only gap up that didn't see a follow through to the upside, and that gap got filled right away. Right, and that was a good job from the bears where this up gap was filled right away. That's why these down gaps, bulls needed to fill those down gaps right away. They weren't able to do that. Ever since then, things are continuing to get hectic for the buyers, which we've been talking about, that as long as this gap remains open, things will get hectic. And even with some of the sentiment that the buyers are hanging around, buyers are trying to push it up. They had multiple times of gap ups to get up there trying to fill that gap. They failed, and bears finally brought it down, and no accident. We're just staying right there, but we're not seeing confident looking candles here. We don't see any follow through. If we did see maybe certain kind of follow through to the upside back here at 309 or something like that, or at least to maybe 307, I think that at that point, okay, we got some pretty strong bounce on that moving average. But as of today, as of now, as of this moment, as the data that I can see at this point, doesn't look like a strong, bounce there. It looks like we're just pausing here. So, but we still at this point, benefit of the doubt. And yesterday I said this, that if we do break below, if the bears do gap it down today, I did say that I have to give benefit of the doubt to the sellers in short term, right? When we do see that, we are hanging around below my midterm moving average, but I'm not ready to say bearish yet in the midterm. Short term, bearish. For sure, short term, bearish. But in the midterm, I'm more leaning towards to neutral to bearish. Remember, it was neutral to bullish. Now I'm leaning towards a neutral to bearish, right? Neutral to bearish, because we've been in a situation where price was hanging around below my midterm moving average, and we are barely dangling around now. So we have to see how the market behaves tomorrow. But as of this day, we have two island top reversal gaps. Those two gaps are still open. Total 3 down gaps. It's going to give some weight to the downside. There will be some selling pressure. There will be some. It won't be easy for buyers just kind of get up and start filling those gaps. There will be some trouble. There will be some volatility. There will be some hecticness going forward, right? So long term, I'm still bullish, mostly because we still have the cultivation of higher lows. That's just slightly higher, right? Slightly higher. So here's I think what bears are wondering at this point. Well, okay, bears done this, bears done that. What do bears need to do at this point to completely turn this thing around? I mean, some of you bears, there's maybe some of you bears, I want this thing to tank. I want this thing to go down and retest 240s and 260s. Well, for that to happen, you need to change the trend. The trend does not get changed over a couple days or a couple weeks of movement. It takes a while for the trend to be developed. So we do have some lower highs here, but we don't have a lower lows. We got the low, we got the higher low, higher low. That must change, meaning this thing needs to go lower than this low. Lower than this low. It can't be slightly low. Look at this. This was low, slightly low ain't gonna cut it. So big low. It has to go up and maybe fill this gap at 285 and then get up, right? So we got a lot of bears still needs to do a lot of work before they establish longer term downtrend, and then go up and then come down and then break below this. Once we start to see something like that, then you have your downtrend. Until then, I'm still bullish in the longer term. I am neutral to, I don't want to quite call bearish it. I want to call neutral to hectic environment, right? So bullish in the longer term. In the midterm, neutral and hectic environment, meaning there could be a lot of up and down movements, a lot of sideways movement, because I think we're still in an uptrend. We're still long-term uptrend. So long-term bullish, midterm neutral / hectic environment, right? And short-term bearish. That's how I'm going to label it today. Short-term bearish, definitely short-term bearish. So let's look at that oscillator though, right? So that oscillator seems like, and before we get into the oscillator, what I want to say is I want to give you a level though. I forgot to give you guys the levels. So the levels are right here. And here, let's extend this down, right? So we got these levels. We got, I'm gonna give you these levels for now. So 297 is pretty strong support. Right now, we're hanging out at my longer term moving average, as you can see, correct? And we are still in the vicinity of higher low. We gotta keep that in mind. So if we do see, if this is turned into a bull or bear pennant, then we may continue lower. If we do see a continue lower to the downside tomorrow, 297 is next level for support. Prior resistance became a new support, and then another support there. There's a gap here. If the gap gets filled at 295, it's also going to act as support, right? So that's 297, 295, 293 right here. This area, pretty solid support area. It's going to take a lot to break below that, because let's say if bears bring it down tomorrow. Let's say bears bring it down tomorrow. By the time they bring it down, look at where my oscillator is. The good thing about what happened today, there's no longer rising uptrend. That has been neutralized. That downtrend resistance still exists though. So you can see we still got some room, meaning bears are not tired. Bears are not tired at all. They got more room to move here. You can see right there. So that means there's a good chance that bears might bring it down to 297. Unless there's some fast up move in the first couple hours trading tomorrow morning. Like either there's a gap up, some fast up move. Unless there's some kind of fast up move from the buyers, if we fizzle around, bears gonna bring it down. They're not completely tired yet. They're not at oversold yet. We got room to move here. You can see here. We're just about right here, which was right here, right here, right here. Meaning there's some more room to move to the downside. So by the time bears bring it down to 297.57, this thing is gonna hit the overbought, and at that point, bears gonna get tired, and bulls gonna use that sentiment. They're gonna use that to take advantage of that situation and bring it up, unless there's another gap down and they can bring it down to fill the gap. And if there's another gap down tomorrow, pretty decent sized gap down tomorrow, there's a good chance bears gonna come down and fill the gap at 295. And by the time it comes and fill the gap at 295, this thing is gonna then, at that point, we're gonna go back down to oversold level. When that happens, bulls gonna try to get up. At least we're gonna see an oversold bounce. And that's another time to assess the situation. So right now, we're at this juncture. If bulls do not bring it, we're talking very fast. First couple hours of trading, right? Either bulls do not let the bears bring it down any lower. You let them just keep hanging around, maybe some consolidation or something like that. Absorb some volatility before maybe bring it back up. Bulls have to do something here. Otherwise, the bears are eyeing on 297 and 295. Those two levels. And once we get down to 297, 295, we're going to get into overbought condition, oversold condition. And at that time, bulls going to bring it up. And we'll have to re-examine the situation at that time. So going into tomorrow, sentiment is bearish. We are in a hectic environment for the buyers. While we do have a longer term, overall sentiment is still bullish. That means bulls are going to continue to try to buy the dip. So there will be some selling, or there will be some buying the dip activities throughout. Another thing potentially could happen. Sometimes I've seen this kind of thing happen. You see this is a longer term moving average. So and this is a possible scenario. we may see first hour of trading like this, and this thing start coming down hard first hour or so, right? And you're gonna see a candle looking like that, like dark red bearish candle. And at some point, all of a sudden, you see this thing doing something like this. The dips get bought, and then you see a candle looks like that. And then that long-term moving average, it goes like that. If you see something like in the first hour, second or something like that, that's a reversal. And that was a trap. That was bearish trap, or the market is taking out the stops, right? Bulls might have put their stops, or bears might have put their entries to get short or something like that. And then this thing reverses. I've seen something like that happening before, especially when so many people are expecting certain things to occur. It is a lower probability thing that it may occur tomorrow, but just letting you guys know that it's a possibility. Maybe something like you can see right here. Maybe you can see that right there, but that was a different sentiment though. There's a completely different environment at the time. You can see that was way bullish environment. We're in a downtrend, bearish environment in the short term, in short to mid term, right? So that something like that, what bulls are looking for, either a gap up or fast bullish move right at the gate, or maybe bears gonna bring it down, and then some kind of a shenanigan buying activities occur sometime in the morning and bring it up. So it's gonna be choppy. It's not gonna be easy for the bears to just bring it down because we're kind of still in an overall bullish environment. So keep those in mind. We're gonna continue to be in this choppy, hectic environment. And going into tomorrow, the market favors the sellers. So we'll come back tomorrow and reassess the situation. And you can follow me at 2K Kim, and I'll give you guys an update on my oscillator. I think that falling resistance was definitely on point. As soon as we saw that my oscillator was not able to get above that, that's when this thing tanked. And you can see how this thing just came straight down. So that was very, very important piece of information that we gathered just a couple days ago here. And so, but once this thing gets to oversold level, and I think we're gonna get there in the first couple hours of trading, or maybe if we continue kind of sideways, it might not, but if we continue to see selling, we might. So I will give you guys an update. I will tweet things out on my moving, because right now we're just hanging out on my longer term moving average here. So I'll also give you guys an update on that tomorrow if you don't want to wait until end of the day for this daily video to go out. During the day, I will tweet it out on my update on my longer term moving average and see where my oscillator is at. And we'll go from there, right? So you guys have a wonderful evening and good luck trading tomorrow.